Hello everybody and welcome back yet again to a drum playthrough review. Thanks for stopping by. For everybody who's brand new, hello and welcome. My name is Nick. I play drums, guitar, bass, and a couple other instruments, and we like to do these videos so that way we can better learn how to play those instruments and become better musicians by watching other people who are a whole lot better than us and have overcome other challenges that we haven't been able to get through yet. And my oh my, this video definitely is inspiring if you're trying to overcome challenges. So here's the thing. In this particular video, we're going to be discussing something a little bit more, not technique focused, but mental focus. Because that's something that I think that we really haven't really discussed yet on these videos. We've discussed a lot of technique and whatnot, a lot of musicianship focus, but we haven't really discussed the mental aspect of things, especially when it comes to drumming. We're going to be reviewing a man who has experienced several adversities in his life. Some adversities which would normally set a normal human being back and make them give up their instrument forever, but not this guy. This guy that we're reviewing today is named Jack Thomas. Jack Thomas has been drumming for a majority of his life, and he still drums to this day. When he was 17, unfortunately, he got into a tragic accident which caused him to lose his right arm. Now, that's a setback that most people would end up giving up drums for, because if you've got one less limb, then why even try to play drums? So drums is such a multifaceted instrument. Not this guy. This guy still decided to play drums, still decided to keep on going, and he's an absolutely phenomenal drummer. He's got a bunch of videos that are up available all over the online sphere, and a bunch of covers that are available that you can see as well that have showed that this man does not let anything stop him. And I feel like this is something that we can use as inspiration for ourselves, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back with a lot of excuses, especially in the drumming sphere. Oh, well, I can't play as fast as this guy because, he practices more. And, oh, well, I can't do that because, he genetics, blah, blah. None of that matters. What matters is that you don't let adversity stop you and you keep on going. So we're going to check out this man, Jack Thomas, and this cover he did of Slipknot's song Duality. And it's going to be very amazing because I've seen this video probably like 15 times already. It's a great inspiration to watch, and it's also just great to break down technique as well, because learning to drum with one arm is an absolutely invaluable skill, and it's something I feel like a lot more people should be focused on. All right, without further ado, ladies and gents, let's get into the video.
I push my fingers into my...
Hey everyone, my name is Jack Thomas, and I've been drumming and playing music basically my entire life. As well as bass guitar, music is everything that I am. About 5 years ago, I was involved in a tragic workplace accident that unfortunately resulted in the loss of my right arm. And for a brief moment, I thought I'd never be able to play drums again.
Yeah, just look at this guy. And he's still hitting with rim shots and ghost notes. What's your excuses, fellas? It's like what David Goggins said. Who's going to carry the boats? And his fills still sound impeccable because he's using the bass drum alongside with it, and it's really good. Yeah, just listen to that. He's adding in the ghost notes in there as well. Like, come on, dude. He hasn't let this hold him back. He's still very relaxed, too, if you look at him. Very loose. I actually wonder, was he right-handed prior to this? Because especially losing a right hand, having to learn to do everything with your left hand, that's a challenge in its own. But think about that. This man has literally decided to relearn how to play drums with just one arm. That's tough to do, dude. He's got all the cymbals set up on one side because it's going to be easier to hit it that way, obviously. And we're going to watch this entire video, by the way. That includes the little ending part. Yeah, he's using a lot of full leg, especially on the feet. That's something I don't think people actually realize too, is that with some of these bands out there, a lot of the popular versions of the songs are the MTV versions that are actually a lot shorter than the originals. Very beautiful fills, I think. He's on time, he's keeping the power consistent.
All I've got is insane. All I've got
He's keeping it perfect time too. Beautiful. Absolutely phenomenal job.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed my cover of Duality by Slipknot. Like I
did.
said earlier, about 5 years ago, I was involved in a workplace accident that unfortunately resulted in the loss of my right arm. I was working on a conveyor belt that tripped out, and before I even had a chance to fight for myself, my arm was severed. I had to go outside and get myself some help, which is where I was told that I'm sorry buddy, but your arm is gone. Hearing those words as a human being is not something you know how to react to. We're supposed to get through our life with all of our limbs. Now, being a drummer...
And real quick, I'll just pause this because this is something that I can actually add some extra insight to. See, I work in the medical profession, right? I work in a pharmacy. So I see people who come in all the time and they all of a sudden get diagnosed with these all different types of diseases and whatnot. Like I recently had one of my patients, she mentioned that she just got diagnosed with Parkinson's out of nowhere. And it's really tough, especially learning that there's something now that's either been taken from you or there's something that's considered to be wrong with you as a person. When, you know, normal human beings or anything like that aren't supposed to really come across such adversities or whatnot. And it's really tough. And sometimes it can be really tough to kind of come to terms with that. But the only thing that you can really do is find ways to accept it and find ways to not let it hold you back so that way you can keep on going and pursuing through life. So I will say, hearing him talk about this, I completely empathize with him, especially from the medical standpoint as well, because, dude, it is so tough, especially from the medical standpoint, to break the news of stuff like that to people that, you know, something happened and now they can't, you know, resume normal life in the same way that they used to. But we shouldn't let stuff like that hold us back, and we should still be able to overcome such challenges and whatnot. And I think that especially in the medical industry, I think there is a change that really does need to happen. And we need to not necessarily paint it in the way that it's kind of hopeless. Oh, well, you have this disease, you need to take this medication for the rest of your life now. No. What we should be doing, honestly, and I see a lack of this in the medical industry a lot. What we need to be doing is whenever there is an adversity that a patient of ours comes across, we need to say, hey, look, we know this is challenging, but if you have the patience and you have the courage to keep on going, you can fight through this and you can resume normal life. It's not going to be an easy road. Absolutely not. But if you want to fight through this, we're going to be here for you. And I feel like that we need to hear more of that in the medical industry, because unfortunately we just don't. There's no other easier way to say that. Unfortunately, we just don't. And that's just how a lot of doctors nowadays are trained. But enough with my monologue. I'm going to get back into it, what he's saying.
That's kind of career ending. You kind of need all the limbs you have to play the instrument that you play. Now, I throw into the mix that I was only 17 years old, and everything I had worked towards my entire life to that very moment was with the goal and passion and love of music. That was it. I felt like my life was over.
Okay, so he
Only
is
for about
right-handed.
4 minutes. Because at that point I realized I could let this overcome me, or I can do whatever I can to overcome it.
Exactly right. And I feel like that something I know he just did not mention is that the medical personnel didn't say anything about that. He came to that realization himself. But it looks like, yeah, he was right-handed prior to that. So that means he had to relearn how to do everything with his left hand. If I know I'm right-handed. If I ended up losing my right arm in some sort of accident, I know for sure I cannot write and do all the stuff that I can do with this hand on my left. It's absolutely insane. So the fact that this man has not only overcome the musical aspect of things, but also just the everyday life side of things, having to learn to write, having to learn to hold things, even as holding a cup of water, right? even me reaching down and grabbing this can of liquid death, I'm grabbing that with my right hand. It's going to feel so awkward holding it and drinking out of my left hand, even though that's a simple action that we don't take into effect. It's kind of, it's so simple that it kind of just goes over our heads a little bit. But yeah, no, absolutely mind-bending that this man's had to overcome all of that. Just to give you a little extra perspective.
And come out of it as successful as I possibly can. So right there, right then, I was patting on my chest, trying to figure out the songs that were playing in my head, and I knew that I could do this. We all go through hardships. We all go through the thing that is the worst thing that's ever happened to us. For me, it was losing a limb. But regardless, everybody has their struggles, whether it be financial, work, even relationships, whatever it might be. We all have those frustrations and struggles. So my challenge to you is to take those frustrations and struggles and do the best you can to turn them into a challenge, something that you can overcome. If I can play Duality by Slipknot with just one hand, what's your excuse? I really hope you all enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed playing it. Be sure to leave a comment in the section below about things that you enjoyed, or if you want to tell me a story about something that you've had to overcome, musically or whatever in your life. I would love to hear it. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, smash that subscribe button. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely correct. In every way and shape and form. So yeah, there we go. What an incredible example of overcoming hardships and overcoming excuses. I see this a lot, especially in the drumming community. Usually it's under a certain skill level, usually we'll just say it that way. Not to throw shade at anybody and say, oh, this person's less skilled than this person. But I always hear people all the time talking about like, oh, I can't do what this person does because they're better than me. They practice more. This guy is over here playing with one arm. He's had to relearn everything in life, from something as simple as picking up a can of water, brushing his teeth, combing his hair, taking a shower, living life with a hand that he really didn't use as a dominant hand, to something more complicated and more nuanced, such as playing drums, playing bass. That man's had to relearn how to do all of that, and he still does it. And he overcame his obstacles, and he can still play drums phenomenally. As you could hear in there, he's adding in all the ghost notes as well, and keeping all the major accents in there, while not losing the essence of the song. So what's your excuse? Honestly, that's kind of what I would just leave out there. What's your excuse? Because I do hear a lot of people who like to hold themselves back with excuses of, oh, I can't do this because of this reason. Oh, I can't do this because of that reason. The moment that you decide to let those excuses rule your life, that's the moment that you're going to be set back forever. Once you can take a look at those excuses and go, you know what? I'm not going to let that hold me back anymore. That's how you know you're going to overcome. It's all a mental game. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that has to do with drumming technique and whatnot, as far as like breaking barriers in speed and power and endurance and all that, a lot of that's mental. Once you can unlock it in the mental, it can translate over into muscle memory. That's actually scientifically backed. You can take a look at a lot of studies where they've found people have overcome a mental barrier and have translated that over into a muscle or a skeletal muscle barrier, and have been able to do things that they didn't think they were able to do before. I think the other thing too that really does help, and I don't, this wasn't mentioned in here, and this is more just me interjecting as well. And I know this is probably where I'll lose some people on here, but definitely from a spiritual side of things, definitely making sure your spirit's in the right way and in the right state. That definitely makes a massive difference in there. Because you can have the mentality on all that set that you're going to do all these great things, but if your spirit's not in alignment, you'll toil, but there won't be any fruit to reap. And I come at this from the perspective of somebody who has grown up Christian for a majority of his life, and has more recently than not, like really more seriously started to look at it more and actually take it seriously. Because there are some times where a door will be opened and another door will be closed. Now, obviously for this young man here, there was a door that was obviously opened and it turned on to another door where now look at him. He's still playing drums. He's still doing fantastically, and he's made that his living. He hasn't let it hold him down. So just remember, don't let these excuses hold you back. If you're trying to make a positive change in your life, all you have to do is just flip on that little mental switch. Make the right choices. Work hard to do it. Get your spiritual life in check. But yes, all that to the side now. Excellent job on his part. It's honestly very inspiring for someone like me to see, because as someone who oftentimes will let excuses hold him back, and has sometimes honestly struggled a lot from letting excuses rule his life, it is really inspiring to see that somebody else has overcome that, and it really does give me inspiration that I can do that as well. And with all that being said, guys, we're going to cut the video here, so here's a few things y'all can do to support me. So for one, you can go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that other stuff. Check out the playlist that I have down below with other videos similar to this, and the links that I've got down below as well to the Spotify page for my band. We got new music on the way, so hopefully you guys will like that. And with all that being said, guys, we'll cut the video here. So thanks for tuning in and stopping by, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers, everyone.